Good afternoon guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to a little bit of short game today. We're going to be talking about how you can play, and by the title, something different. We're going to show you how we can play different shots with the same wedge. So James has got his favourite trusty, the cameraman, has got his favourite trusty 60, which has been
looking a bit worn actually.
I'm going to say it's been with you a while.
Since Bob, so like over a year.
Yeah, and I've got a 56. So what we're going to do is going to show you how we can play different shots around the green. We're going to show you how we can get one to run out. Even James can get one to run out with a 60.
Can duff it and let it roll.
And we're going to show you what you need to change at setup and how to play that. We're then going to play a mid-trajectory shot, and then we're going to show you how we can play a high shot and talk through how, with any club, you should be able to play
and
these
also
three shots.
When and where you need to, because if you look at this flag, it's quite an interesting flag because we've got loads of green to work with now, but as soon as we go the other side, that's when you might need that loft.
Correct. So this one here is, a lot of people would try and land it a long way on there. They'd try and get it landing probably 3/4 of the way, but why would you? Again, from here, if I gave you a ball to throw, we would probably land it on the front.
And I've got an argument to pick with you in a minute with this, just for sake of argument.
Oh, okay. We would be throwing the ball, landing it on the first probably 3 paces on the green and letting it run out to the flag. We're a lot more in control of that kind of shot than we are landing it there, especially in the winter when there might be some hollow tines and it bouncing and bobbling and going left, right and centre. So for this shot, what we're going to do, we're going to have the ball back in our stance. So I'm going to have it probably just on the inside of my right foot as I move round.
I'd committed to that before you moved, sorry.
So inside of the right foot, I'm also going to get the shaft nice and tall, and I'm going to get my hands forwards but not driving there, encouraging the leading edge.
My dad does this. I'm going to send this video to my dad. What does that do when you have the shaft leaning that far forward?
So that's going to then get the leading edge doing exactly what. So on the toe will give us a little bit of bounce, just in front of our zipper on your shorts. Shorts, I don't know why you'd be wearing shorts in the winter, but if you're abroad, enjoy your shorts.
Or your buttons zipper if you've got jeans on.
Or on your buttons. And then from here, we're getting that club working more a little bit out to the right and keeping the loft off. So from here, nice and shallow.
Well, that was delightful.
Landed a little bit further.
That's glorious, by the way.
It was glorious, but landed a little bit further than I wanted, but that came out pretty low and has gone to 2 feet. But you see, with a 56, I've kept it a little bit lower, and James is now going to show us the same shot with his trusty 60 and his Kirkland.
You see, now my argument there, Chris, is why would you land it further up? Now, I'm not saying this is the right thing to do, guys, because it's definitely not. But for me, I often think if I can land it a little bit further up, it takes out any green reading I have to do. It takes out any more break in it. That's just an option if it's the shot that you're comfortable with. It's not the percentage shot. It's not a shot you should really be thinking about playing. But even here, I'm going to have this on my right big toe. And again, feel like I release the club onto the ball. So it's still going to have some loft on it, but with a nice square face, it should come out fairly short and fiery. That's almost... Oh, that took a terrible bounce right, didn't it?
It did, but that's the hollow tines that we talked about. But you see, James kept the loft off there better than myself because it launched lower than mine, and he was able then to play a better shot. It's not as close, but the flight was better.
But with the ball being a bit further back, Chris, if you show the guys the divot here, the strike was pretty good because the ball was just in front of the divot there. If I didn't quite get that strike right, I'm going to Damien it, I'm going to fat it, I'm not going to quite get it as one. They're 2 good shots from here, to be honest. Mine took a bad bounce. I think it still wouldn't quite have been as close as yours, but I wouldn't ideally want this ground interaction. That's why I don't really play that shot. If I was going to play that shot, I'd use a pitching wedge and 9-iron and just use the natural loft of the club rather than trying to de-loft it dynamically.
He's on fire.
You like that?
And that's back for Jonesy.
Yeah, there you go, Jonesy.
Right, so next shot, we're thinking mid-trajectory here. We've got a shot where we're on a little bit of an upslope. We need to carry it onto the green. So here I'm wanting to carry it past all of this. It could kick there and run into the middle of the green. So I'm looking to land it between here, which is pretty flat on the green, and here. So a 2 metre, give or take, 2 yard landing angle. It needs a mid-trajectory, and then it will still run out slightly. So same club, as we know, we're keeping that. The changes now, we go back to, you'll be in the pond.
I'm just thinking, I'm backing up here and there's...
We need to change the ball position, we need to get that a little bit more centred. We're not going to have as much forward shaft lean, so we're using the natural loft on the club, and I'm not going to be as close to the ball, so a normal distance away, hands slightly forwards but not as much, and then focus on rotating into the landing zone. And so far,
that's another masterclass.
Unbelievable proximity today. So James is going to show you the exact same shot now with a 60, and hopefully closer, but I doubt it.
So guys, Chris has now played his second career shot in a row. I'm going to reiterate what Chris has said there, but I'm actually going to sneak the club face ever so slightly open just to engage a little bit more of the bounce. You can see here that we've not got a very good lie. There's quite a lot of worm casts around, so the last thing I want to do is be duffing this or blading it. If I open that club face just ever so slightly, should I say, I can engage that bounce into the back of the ball, and hopefully middle of the stance, release it, and that should go on then. Ah! Get in!
At least it's just closer. But yeah,
for me there, I felt like because I engaged that bounce, it didn't matter where the ground contact was. In the previous shot I mentioned about the divot, there was never going to be much ground contact there. You can still get good contact on the ball. That's why you've seen such good shots from us today. Shall I take the lead on this one, Chris? The nice high one.
Well, you look so happy and excited about this shot.
This is a shot that I really enjoy, and it depends entirely on how the ball's lying as well. Say if you've got a lie like this, it's not too bad, it's still a little bit muddy because of the time of year, then I might take it on, I might try and send it up in the air. Because the reason why we're trying to get up in the air, Chris, is that we need that landing angle. A lot of people will try and spin this into the bank. Spin isn't really going to help you here. It might grab a little bit, but we need that landing angle, we need that descent to stop the ball from releasing down this slope. This is quite a, if you look at the angle of the slope here, it's probably about 6 or 7%. So if we're thinking about that as an aim point read, that's a massive percentage. What you're not going to do is, say if I've got a lie, think about there. So that's lying into the grain or into the grass. The grass has been cut that way or the wind's blown it that way. All of a sudden that's very difficult to try and get what we want to do, to try and get the ball up in the air. So you've got to think about the right location to play the shot on the right lie. Are we giving ourselves good lie for these, or just
reasonable lie?
Reasonable lie, so that's not too bad. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm holding the loft on this club. So I've got it nice and open. I'm going to release the club down into the back of the ball, and obviously the ball's going to be at the front of my stance. I'm actually stood a little bit closed here because that allows me to shallow the angle of attack. Not too bad. It was a little bit long, wasn't it, in the landing area, but at least we've got an uphill putt coming back. That's probably about 4 or 5 out of 10, but it's not too bad. It could be a lot worse. Say if we tried to play a low one, I will go and fetch you this, Chris.
Oh, thank you very much.
You see how I spoke about that landing angle? That all of a sudden that's 6 feet further away, so just by playing it a little bit higher does still help. I just got the landing area wrong.
And that's it. I mean, that was a good strike on the second one. Struck it well. Will have had some spin, but it's not got enough spin, and then it still runs out. Right, guys, so James made the perfect points there.
Perfect?
Well, I wouldn't say perfect.
Oh, well, you did say
not
perfect.
Bad. About landing angle. So landing angle is something that you need there, and James mentioned about grass into the grain. We might play a different shot, so it is dependent on your lie. But then also here, not only in winter but in summer, we might have some thicker rough around there, and we can't judge how that's going to land in there. It might just stop dead, and then I've got an even more fiddly shot. Nearly gone out for the season. So yes, we need, well, no, I thought why that lie wasn't great. So yeah, we need to put loft on there. We need to play a nicer high and soft one. And James said there, he plays it forwards in his stance and he has it slightly closed. A lot of people think, well, if I open the club face, it's now pointing right. But what we do here, like James did nicely, a little bit further away from the ball, lowers the hands, so the loft, famously, I actually have a tee for this, is now pointing straight up, whereas if my hands were higher, you'll see that it will start to point right, and at some point, there she goes, she falls over. So, a little bit further away, lower the handle, and then from there, try not to make as big a motion as James. Soft.
Oh, that was glorious again.
Land it on the green.
Wasn't as high as mine though.
No, but it was just poetic, that I would say. I mean, I might even put like a nice theme tune to that motion. But yes, so lowering those handles, you see with the 56 didn't go as high. Why it didn't go as high, like James said, is because I didn't have as much speed. If I had more speed, it would have gone higher, but then it might have ran out. And obviously there, that's beaten James and is a better shot. So make sure handles lower.
Go on, more speed.
More speed, a little bit longer.
Okay, that was good. I enjoyed that one.
That was very high.
Similar to mine actually, that one,
Very
wasn't it?
similar to James with the same loft. I made a little bit more motion because even from a tough fly, not too much, we can play those shots. But you see with all the clubs, well with the 2 clubs, we've played all the shots that you need to be able to play. Think about it, is that a way that's easier for you, or you just want to use one wedge and be
Shane
good
Lowry
with
does
that?
this with his lob wedge.
Shane Lowry does it, or are you somebody who just wants to use a different loft in your bag? There's 2 different ways, and that's why it's something different that might be better for you. So guys, thanks for watching, enjoy your Christmas, and I will see you again later in the week.